this is like a boxing here. We don't get no news, no talk, no nothing.
Durk's been open about how prison feels like hell. But now it's even worse. Word is the ops finally caught up to him, and he got jumped inside. Apparently, the attack ties back to Lil Pab's death. I've got the full story. Let's get into it. Locked up and locked in. The Metropolitan Detention Center in Los Angeles ain't the type of place where your platinum plaques or your money in the bank means a damn thing. When Lil Durk got transferred to this federal facility after his arrest, he stepped into a whole different world. One where your rep is built on respect, fear, and how well you can navigate the unwritten rules that keep you breathing. This ain't county jail where you might know some cats from the neighborhood. This is federal time where they house the real wolves from all across the country, and everybody's got their own agenda. Durk has been denied bail multiple times, with judges citing his flight risk due to his international flight bookings and alleged violation of jail rules. The way these judges keep shooting down his bail attempts shows they think this cat is either going to run or he's going to be a problem if they let him loose. The demographics of MDC Los Angeles create a perfect storm for someone with Durk's background. His affiliation with the Black Disciples, a prominent Chicago street gang, could significantly impact his prison experience. You got cats in there from every hood in America, including some that got beef with Chicago cats, some that got beef with BD specifically, and some that might see taking out a famous BD as a way to make their own name ring bells. The first threat that's got to be keeping Durk up at night is running into some GDs, Gangster Disciples. The Black Disciples, BDs, with which Durk is affiliated, have a long-standing rivalry with the Gangster Disciples, a related but opposing faction in Chicago's gang landscape. This beef goes back decades, and it damn sure doesn't stop at the prison walls. If anything, being locked up with limited space and unlimited time can make that hatred burn even hotter. And it gets worse. There's an FBI affidavit floating around claiming Durk allegedly put money on GDs before. The affidavit claims Durk offered money for the January 2022 killing of Stephen Mack, a suspected leader of the Smashville faction of the Gangster Disciples who was shot after leaving a youth center in Chicago. If that's true, then Durk ain't just dealing with general BD versus GD beef. He's potentially surrounded by people who want him dead for very specific, very personal reasons. But the GDs ain't his only problem. Inmates with ties to Tower Rondo's crew or their broader network could view Durk as a target, especially given the public nature of the case.
Everybody's already, they gone. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Durk probably the only one that can walk away. If, you know what I'm saying, they really no, he had nothing to do with that, y'all going off of iCloud and this and that and this and that and he could have, if they do have a text message of him saying, oh, don't put no flights on it, it could have been for a show, it could have been for anything, you know what I'm saying? We don't know, you know what I'm saying? But it's they don't really have shit on Durk. But he was the man with money. Right. That's how I look at it. He was the man with money, so we just gonna put it on him.
Word is Durk might already be feeling that pressure in ways the public doesn't know about. Posts on social media suggest he may have faced periods of solitary confinement, as mentioned by an associate of Pashisti. But here's the thing about Durk's situation that makes it extra complicated. His wealth and fame make him both a target and a potential threat. High-profile inmates often face extortion where other prisoners demand money, commissary items, or favors in exchange for protection or just for being left alone. If you're seen as an easy mark with deep pockets, every opportunistic cat in the facility is going to
But it's that's a murder for hire with a murder, because I did my homework on it. It's if they catch you and it was you attempted to do murder for hire and nobody got hurt, it's 10 years. If somebody got hurt, it's 20, 25 years. If somebody got murdered, it's life. So somebody died. It's that's his stipulations. His stipulations already started life.
The federal system's approach to housing someone like Durk is complicated. The prison's environment, described as housing a mix of federal inmates from various regions, could expose Durk to unpredictable threats from unaffiliated inmates or those seeking to make a name by targeting a famous figure. You got cats in there from every coast, every major city, every type of criminal organization. Some might respect his music. Some might hate everything he represents, and some might just see him as an opportunity to make their own reputation. The reality is that in the federal system, your reputation on the streets might get you respect, but it can also paint a target on your back. Durk's alleged involvement in multiple murders, his connection to one of Chicago's most violent neighborhoods, and his resources to allegedly orchestrate hits across state lines. All of that makes him someone that other inmates are going to watch closely, whether they're looking for protection, opportunity, or revenge. From the block to the box, in the savage streets of Chicago, where your reputation is written in blood and loyalty can get you a life sentence, few stories hit as hard as that of Lil Durk, born Durk Devontae Banks in the trenches of Englewood. This cat's been walking that thin line between keeping at 100 and keeping his freedom since day one. But now, as he sits locked up in federal custody at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Los Angeles, waiting on a trial that could put him away forever, he's been attacked. But who would dare go after Durk? Lil Durk was arrested on October 24, 2024, near Miami International Airport while allegedly attempting to board a private jet to Italy. The feds came for him hard, talking about murder for hire like this was some mob movie type situation. But to understand how we got here, we got to take it back to that cold November night in 2020 when everything went left. King Von getting smoked on November 6, 2020 wasn't just another casualty in the drill scene. That was the moment that allegedly turned Durk from a successful rapper trying to leave the streets alone into a man on a mission for get back. Van was killed in Atlanta during a confrontation outside the Monaco Hookah Lounge involving his group.
He wasn't till Von came around. He was singing, hanging out with Dej Life. Like, here's the thing I want. I
don't know
what you said
that.
earlier. I disagreed with when you said, "Oh, Durk, the Fed's been trying to get Durk for ages." I disagree. Lil Durk had a couple little gun cases here and there. It was only when
the King Von situation.
It was only when Von came around.
It was only when Von came around. See, what most folks don't realize is that Durk's whole gangster persona got a major upgrade when Von came home from doing his bid. Before Van touched down, Durk was more on that singing melodic tip, trying to get the ladies and make that crossover money. But Van brought that raw, uncut street energy that changed everything about how Durk moved. This changes the whole narrative, doesn't it? Here you got Durk, the successful artist with the label and the money.
They was scared of Von, man, and that was their downfall and destruction. Cause him, by signing, bringing him around the whole thing, bro. Some people you can't show the lavish life to.
When Von got killed that night in Atlanta, it wasn't just about losing a friend or a brother. It was about losing the one person who gave Durk that street stamp. The surveillance footage shows Von throwing the first punch, being the aggressor, staying true to that street code, even when he had everything to lose. Van was shot during an altercation with Quando Rondo's associate, Lou Tim, outside an Atlanta hookah lounge when them charges against Lou Tim got dropped. That's when things allegedly got real personal for Durk. The feds are saying that Van's death didn't just hurt Durk, it transformed him into something dangerous.
And I feel like Von came through with this killer energy, blew up massively, and I think Durk realized like, yo, I need to be more street. We need no auto Durk. We need these more aggressive songs. Trying to sing love songs for the streets and gangsta pain music for the girls type thing weren't really working for him. It's working for Youngboy and Quando. Wasn't really working for Durk like that. And I feel like he's seen what happened with Von and he turned the gangster up a notch.
But when Van died, that's when Durk allegedly took it to another.
And then when Von died, I think Durk not only turned up the gangster a notch in the music, but also in the actual things that he was allegedly part of in the streets.
The feds are painting a picture of a man who went from successful artist to alleged criminal mastermind, all because of grief and revenge. Prosecutors claim the plot was retaliation for the November 2020 killing of King Von, and that Durk allegedly placed a bounty on Rondo's life, using F resources to fund travel and accommodations for the hitmen. The alleged hit that went down in August 2022 reads like something straight out of a street movie. The plot, which unfolded in August 2022, resulted in the death of Rondo's cousin, Savia Robinson, also known as Lou PAB, at a Los Angeles gas station. These cats allegedly flew across the country, got the tools, did the surveillance, and made their move. The group reportedly used 2 vehicles to track and stalk Rondo, firing at least 18 rounds, including with a fully automatic firearm, but Rondo escaped unharmed while Robinson was killed. What makes this case so damning isn't just the violence, it's the paper trail these dudes allegedly left behind. A credit card linked to F was reportedly used to book flights in a hotel, despite Durk's alleged instruction to avoid a paper trail. The irony is crazy. This cat allegedly told his people, don't book no flights under no names. but then got caught up because of the very success that was supposed to protect him. See, that's the thing about making it out the hood. Your money becomes your weakness. Durk allegedly offered cash and music opportunities through his Only the Family label to 5 associates to carry out the hit. When you got that type of bread and influence, you can allegedly make things happen anywhere in the country. But that same money leaves a trail that the feds can follow right back to your door. The 5 soldiers allegedly involved in this operation, Kayvon London Grant, DeAndre Dontrell Wilson, Keith Jones, David Brian Lindsay, and Ashton Houston. These weren't random street cats. These were allegedly Durk's people trusted enough to be sent on a mission across state lines, paid enough to risk their freedom, loyal enough to allegedly pull triggers for their boss. But here's where the streets and the law collide in the ugliest way possible. The same loyalty that allegedly motivated this whole situation is now the thing that could destroy everyone involved. When Van died, Durk allegedly felt that pressure to get back to prove he wasn't soft, to show the streets that F doesn't take disrespect lying down.
Durk was embroiled in some eternal, I need you off of this earth beef. That's different.
Because of King Von?
Of course. Not only that, he needed the guys who killed his brother off this earth.
See, this wasn't just about business or territory or respect in the traditional sense. This was about love, grief, and the type of loyalty that makes people do things that'll destroy their own lives. When Van died, it wasn't just a loss for F as a business. It was like losing a brother, a protege, and the person who gave Durk his street credibility all at the same time. This dynamic reveals something deeper about Durk's character and the choices that led him to this moment. He wasn't just grieving a friend. He was trying to live up to the memory of someone who represented everything he wasn't, but wanted to be. Van had that authentic street credibility that Durk's success had distanced him from. And when Van died, Durk allegedly tried.
Well, the fact that Von was gone and he still was running the show in a way is kind of crazy.
Yeah, because the streets still with him. The streets still want to get back for Von. They want to get back, and you in the power to be around these dudes. You got the money.
Even from the grave, Van's influence allegedly continued to drive decisions that would ultimately destroy the people who loved him most. The pressure to get revenge, to prove loyalty, to show that F doesn't take disrespect lying down, all of that allegedly pushed Durk to make choices that his success should have protected him from having to make. What's particularly revealing about this case is,
like, that's the only thing I was surprised at with this Durk situation, Vlad. Like, when they brought up the 5 guys on the screen, I didn't think Diddy would be there with him, because that's Durk's friend. So I definitely didn't think he was going to be there. But I thought it would be like some people we seeing in these videos waving guns around and jumping around like monkeys. It wasn't none of them. All KFC workers, man, the janitors and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, he went to go to the space station to go and get the guy with the glasses and shit. Like, I'm disappointed in Durk, man.
this observation points to something crucial about how Durk allegedly operated. Instead of using experienced street soldiers who might have known how to move without leaving evidence, he allegedly chose people who were loyal but inexperienced. People who would leave paper trails, make mistakes, and ultimately lead the feds right back to him. The ultimate question of whether Durk is predator or prey becomes more complex when you consider that he appears to be both simultaneously. As someone who allegedly orchestrated violence across state lines, coordinated with multiple shooters, and used his business infrastructure to fund criminal activities, he fits the profile of a sophisticated predator who used his resources and influence to allegedly target enemies nationwide. But as someone now trapped in the federal system, facing potential life imprisonment, surrounded by enemies from multiple conflicts, and dependent on the loyalty of people who might save themselves by destroying him, he has become the ultimate prey in a game where the stakes couldn't be higher. The tragedy of this entire situation is that it didn't have to happen. Durk had escaped the streets that killed so many of his friends and family members. He had achieved success that most people from his background could never imagine. He had Grammy Awards, platinum albums, legitimate business opportunities, and enough money to live comfortably for the rest of his life without ever touching another illegal dollar. But when Van died, all of that success allegedly became secondary to proving that he was still the same loyal, dangerous person who had survived Englewood's worst streets. In trying to honor his dead friend's memory, he allegedly walked directly into a federal conspiracy that could cost him everything he had worked to achieve. The federal case against Lil Durk represents more than just another rapper catching charges. It's a stark reminder of how the streets never really let you go, how loyalty can become a death sentence, and how the very authenticity that makes drill music compelling can ultimately destroy the artists who create it. Whether Durk beats this case or spends the rest of his life in federal prison, his story will serve as a cautionary tale about the price of keeping it real in a world where keeping it real can literally keep you locked up forever. The question of whether he's predator or prey might ultimately be irrelevant. In the ecosystem he helped create, everyone is both hunter and hunted until the music stops, the lights come up, and only the smartest, the luckiest, or the most ruthless survive to tell their story. The real answer to whether Lil Durk is predator or prey is that in the deadly game he allegedly chose to play, those roles change depending on the circumstances, the opponents, and how well you can adapt when everything you thought you knew about power, loyalty, and survival gets tested in the hardest way possible. Thank you for watching this video. If you'd like to watch another fascinating video like this, click on one of the boxes on your screen right now.